This meeting to order. Please stand and join me for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. On this August 15th, 2023 morning, welcome to the Sherburne County Board meeting. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the proposed agenda.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hull, seconded by Commissioner Felber. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. On to agenda item number 2, the consent agenda. Mr.
morning.
Dan Weber.
Good morning, Commissioners. Staff is recommending pulling item 9 from the consent agenda for discussion on its own, and we'd recommend after 5.1, after the presentation for 5.1, just for that discussion.
Thanks, Dan. So we'll be moving item number 2.9, which is a proclamation resolution. It will follow 5.1 on your agenda. Any other amendments? Seeing none, then I'd be open to a motion to approve the consent agenda with that change. So moved. Motion's made by Commissioner Danielowski, seconded by Commissioner Hulls. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Moving on to agenda item number 3, that of open forum.
We have one person signed up, Madam Chair, and that is Kari Watkins of St. Cloud, talking about CISA, also known as CISA.
Okay. Good morning, Kari.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I bring you the following report. The weaponization of CISA, how a cybersecurity agency colluded with big tech and disinformation partners to censor Americans. Interim staff report of the Committee on Judiciary and the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government, U.S. House of Representatives. This interim staff report details, among other things, that CISA is working with federal partners to mature a whole government approach to curbing alleged misinformation and disinformation. CISA considered the creation of an anti-misinformation rapid response team capable of physically deploying across the United States. CISA moved its censorship operation to a CISA-funded nonprofit after CISA and the Biden administration were sued in federal court, implicitly admitting that its censorship activities are unconstitutional. CISA wanted to use the same CISA-funded nonprofit as its mouthpiece to avoid the appearance of government propaganda. Members of CISA's advisory committee agonized that it was only a matter of time before someone realizes we exist and start asking questions about our work. The committee and the select committee are responsible for investigating violations of the civil liberties of the citizens of the United States. In accordance with this mandate, this interim staff report on CISA's violations of the First Amendment and other unconstitutional activities fulfills the obligation to identify and report on the weaponization of the federal government against American citizens. The work, however, is not done. CISA has still not adequately complied with subpoena for relevant documents, and much more fact-finding is necessary in order to better inform the committee's legislative efforts. The committee and select subcommittee will continue to investigate CISA's and other executive branch agencies' entanglement with social media platforms. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on now to agenda item number 4, that of announcements. Mr. Dan Weber.
Good morning again. 2 quick announcements. Just a reminder that there's a special meeting next Tuesday, a week from today, to discuss the comp plan and a housing update. And then tomorrow is Safe Schools meeting in Maple Room. So I just wanted to highlight that. And if anyone can make it, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. Any other announcements? Okay, then we will move on to our regular agenda, item number 5.1. We have a recognition, and I'm going to turn this over to Sheriff Joel Brott.
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair. I have a special guest with us this morning, motorcycle survivor Roger Sawyer, his wife Jennifer, and Deputy Matthew Egberg. On August 21st, 2022, Roger Sawyer was riding his motorcycle north on County Road 45, approaching 303rd Avenue between Zimmerman and Princeton, when an SUV heading in the other direction turned in front of him and stopped at the intersection. Roger couldn't stop his motorcycle in time and collided with the SUV. The crash happened just yards from the Baldwin Township Fire and Rescue Station, so firefighters were on scene within minutes. So was Lynn Waters, who was in her yard, heard the crash, and witnessed Roger flying through the air, as she told the deputy before Roger landed in the middle of the roadway. She was the first person to reach Roger after the crash, staying with him until first responders arrived. Emergency medical technicians from North Ambulance responded, as well as Princeton police officer and Sherburne County deputies. Roger was airlifted from the scene with numerous injuries that have taken months to heal. He is still on the road to recovery. My understanding is, 1 week from today?
1 week, yes, correct.
To 1 year. Roger contacted us recently and said he wanted to thank Sherburne County deputies who helped him that day. Deputy Matthew Egberg was the first Sherburne County deputy on scene and came here today to meet Roger. In addition to meeting Deputy Egberg, Roger also wants to say a word about how important it was for him to be wearing his helmet that day. Before I turn the microphone over to Roger, I wanted to introduce some people who were important in ensuring Roger could be here today. Baldwin Township firefighters, Chief Scott Case, Captain Brian Torberg, Captain Chad Miller, Lieutenant Mary Beth Torberg, firefighters Brandon Lage, and Jake Jolick. North Ambulance EMTs Vanessa Gagnon and Ken Vang, North Air Ambulance Crew pilot Steve Schmoll and flight paramedic Eric Single, former police officer Princeton Justin Strom, and our citizen first responder Lynn Waters is unable to attend today, although I'm told that she's watching via live stream. So congratulations to all of you for a job well done. We know that you do it professionally each and every day, so we thank you for your service for each and every day that you do and provide good public safety to our community. So round of applause for these folks. And with that, I will turn the microphone over to Roger. He had a few words to say this morning.
Thank you, Sheriff. I always wear my helmet, and I brought my helmet today to show everybody that I'm alive because of it. It's got lots of road rash on it, and we know from all the injuries that I had that if I wasn't wearing the helmet that I certainly would have perished on the scene. So I'm here to strongly advocate for the use of motorcyclists to wear helmets. And it certainly saved my life. And we wanted to make a donation to Sherburne County because of the fast action that everybody did. I mean, like this, and ensured me to stay alive long enough for me to heal and come back. And so I wanted to say thank you to everybody. I don't remember any of you at the scene, but, and I do remember the helicopter ride, so that was neat, but hopefully I can do another one that's where I can actually see. So, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that the great work that Sherburne County does, the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, the Fire Department, to respond. With the nature of my injuries, I had a punctured lung, broken back, broken pelvis, tibia and fibula were destroyed, and my rotator is torn as well. And so without this fast action, I certainly would have perished quickly. So I'm alive because of these great people, and I just want to personally say thanks. Thank you.
And on behalf of the board, Ryan, I want to really, or Roger, I want to thank you so much for coming in and taking this time to thank our staff. We thank North Ambulance, Princeton Police, Baldwin firefighters, and Sherburne County deputies, and all others that were instrumental in seeing that Roger's life was saved. So thank you so much for taking the time to come in. We don't often do this, and really appreciate that, and your message for people to wear helmets. Thank you. Okay, so we will move on now to take up agenda item 2.9 that was under the consent. And I've asked Ms. Amanda Larson to come in and read that proclamation. I think it's important to pull these off the consent. We've done that, we did that last year and we just missed it this year, so I apologize that I didn't catch it sooner. But to both honor our staff in that, honor the people that we're honoring, acknowledge them, and also helps the public understand the depth and breadth of the work that we are responsible for. So thanks, Amanda, for being here.
Thank you. In Health and Human Services, we are our child support officers. It's a team of 12 individuals. And so August is Child Support Awareness Month. So I'll read the proclamation. Whereas children are Minnesota's most valuable resource and citizens of Sherburne County have a responsibility to promote and nurture their well-being. And whereas Child Support Awareness Month reminds us that children need the emotional and financial support of both parents to reach their full potential. And whereas in 2022, Sherburne County child support workers had an annual caseload of 3,167 clients and collected over $1 million. And whereas child support services have a direct impact on helping families meet children's basic needs. And whereas child support professionals help families work toward becoming and remaining self-sufficient and financially stable by creating and modifying child support orders and collecting and dispersing child support on behalf of children. And whereas during Child Support Awareness Month, all citizens are encouraged to look to the future of our state and our children and work together to ensure their success. Now, therefore, the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim August 2023 as Child Support Awareness Month.
Thanks, Amanda. And so I'd be open to a motion to approve the proclamation of August 2023 as Child Support Awareness Month.
So move.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Gray.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Danielowski. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Thanks. Thanks, Amanda. Moving on now to agenda item number 5.2, we will receive the Great River Regional Library report and welcome Ms. Karen Punzek.
Good morning. I'm Karen Punzak, Executive Director for Great River Regional Library.
And good morning, I'm Amy Anderson, the Associate Director of Accounting for Great River Regional Library.
So thank you for some time this morning. It's great to see the Sherburne County Commissioners again. Great River Regional Library comes to the counties twice per year, once at the beginning of the year to talk about our library activities, and then in the second half of the year after our budget has passed, we come to talk about the budget and how 2024 looks like it's shaping up. So Great River Regional Library is a 6-county joint powers agency. We serve 32 communities with actual physical libraries, and then there's also the GRL to go locker system out in Sartell. And in those communities, we strive to provide seamless service to all of our patrons, no matter which county they're coming from. We have a lot of county people who hop borders and use libraries in both Stearns and Sherburne, or Morrison and Todd, and all the combinations in between. I think this is, let's see. Oh, are you going to be switching it, Keisha? Okay, thanks. So this is an overview of our strategic plan. We are a patron-centered organization, and our core values are exceptional service, forward thinking, and community focus. And last year we updated our strategic plan to include our theory of change. So Great River exists so that people in our communities can find and use trusted information they need to thrive in their lives every day. And we are really committed to that in all of our locations. Our staff are fabulous. If you haven't been into a library, I highly encourage you to stop in and say hi to any one of our staff at the 32 libraries. The next slide also shows you that we have locations physically in Sherburne County in Becker, Big Lake, and Elk River. And then the St. Cloud Library also serves a portion of Sherburne County. Elk River is our largest location here in Sherburne, and it is the second largest location in all of Great River. So we're really fortunate to have Elk River and Sherburne County as partners. Becker and Big Lake have very strong library communities as well. We're in the community center at the Becker community. And then Becker and Big Lake were in the shared facility with the police department. So very dedicated communities to making sure that those library facilities are what the public needs when they walk through the door. The city's partnerships are to support those buildings, and then Great River provides the books, the computers, the staff, pretty much everything that makes the library go. If you look at the next slide, we just conducted a survey with St. Cloud State Survey Center. This is the second time we've partnered with them to reach out to all of the users in Great River. Last time we reached out to non-users. This time we actually focused on people who were using the library, and then also people who had stopped using the library, to see what feedback they had for us. It was a very strong response to the survey. We had over 5,000 responses, both online and by telephone. 51% of the people who come to the library come at least 11 times a year, which was kind of surprising to us. So we have some real strong power users across the entire region. It shouldn't surprise us, but it sometimes does, that 79% of the people come for the books. Like the books, we always talk about, libraries are more than just books. We are community spaces. We are the internet hotspot for the community. We're checking out all kinds of different materials. But really, people are there still for the physical books, not just the digital books, the physical books. Only 33% of the total said they were actually checking out digital materials. So that physical presence is still very important in Great River. And we were really proud of the response rate for overall satisfaction. Over 71% of participants said that they would highly recommend library services to someone they knew. And that's a 10 out of 10 in a scale of 1 to 10. So real strong satisfaction across the region. And that usage and support of the library and satisfaction with the library actually increased slightly compared to some of the 2018 results. So in spite of the pandemic, we maintained and increased some of the satisfaction rates for many of the services that we offer. So Amy will be jumping into the budget part of our presentation. Since we have some new commissioners, I'll just explain the budget in case you haven't been familiar with that process before. Part of our joint powers agreement is that we have a formula across the 6-county region. And so what the counties contribute is based on that formula. 1/3 is based on borrower numbers, 1/3 is based on net tax capacity, and 1/3 is based on population of those 6 counties. So even if the dollar amounts stay the same from one year to the next, the county dollar amounts may fluctuate from one year to the next just based on that formula. So just for that reference point, that is part of our budget process. And then we also have to have the budget passed by the Great River Board by the end of July, or it reverts back to the previous amount from the previous year. So we get that budget set for 2024 at the end of July, and that board budget was just passed on the 19th. And here in Sherburne County, we have 3 representatives on our 15-member board. Commissioner Lisa Phoebe, who has been on our board for quite a few years now, and then citizen member Jane Dietz from Elk River and citizen member Mary Eberly from Elk River are also serving on that board. So Amy will explain to you a little bit about how the 2024 budget is shaping up at the library.
Thank you. Good morning. This year, the Board of Directors adopted the 2024 budget at their July 18th meeting, as Karen mentioned. Our Board of members recognize that library services provide a core government function to all residents and share in the goal of ensuring high-quality library access in the most cost-effective manner possible. The goal set by the Board of Trustees at the beginning of the process was to keep county signatory contributions at a minimal increase or reduced rate. To reach the board's goal, Great River Regional Library, if you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. The Great River Regional Library will use additional reserves from our library's unassigned fund balance as part of next year's budget. When combined with the current spend down plan that we already have in place, total reserves used in 2024 will amount to $200,711. So what this means for Sherburne County is that you will have a $0 increase over 2023, and you will contribute $1,464,162. The 2024 budget supports the continued addition of open hours at 27 locations throughout the region that we began in 2022. It also supports the library's popular Wi-Fi to Go program. Great River has over 300 mobile hotspots available for patrons to check out for a 1 or 3 week period. This service began as a need during the pandemic, but has since expanded due to high patron demand. We want to thank you for your continued support of the library and its services, and are happy to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Go to the next slide, Keisha. You can see the summary of the Sherburne County contribution versus the overall budget. And you can see it's a $10 million budget, but we have multiple funding sources. Sherburne County is a strong part of that, and we really appreciate the support, as Amy said, of Sherburne County. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those. We're really excited about what 2024 will bring, because we were able to achieve that level of funding for all of our counties or a reduced rate, which was a pretty significant effort. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen and Amy. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Danielowski.
Thank you for the presentation. Definitely a big supporter of our public library system. Could you just briefly explain too that your budget does not include the libraries that you are supporting the interior of each city? They're the ones that supply that building. And can you just explain that a little bit so they understand the separation of what that is not including?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think it's interesting because, Great River Regional Library, at the state level, it costs about $41 per capita to offer library services. At Great River, it costs about $20 per capita to offer library services, but we're offering services at the level of, Hennepin and St. Paul. Like, we get compared to them quite often. And it's partly because of that city partnership. So Elk River is probably a pretty good example, because we've had some issues with the building this year. The roof started leaking, the air conditioning went out, there's some problems with the toilet. None of that stuff is covered by the Great River budget. All of that is covered by the city of Elk River. They maintain the building, and that is their contribution to the partnership. So that's not reflected in our overall budget operations, and that's why, part of the reason why we're so lean is that efficiency that comes from that city-county partnership.
And that, to me, shows that those communities value that resource, and they're willing to put those investments into providing the space for the libraries to be in their communities.
Absolutely. And we have, I think, 5 or 6 different cities right now looking at different building projects. Howard Lake is in the process of building the first net zero library, I think, ever, and then one of the only net zero buildings in the state of Minnesota. So not only is it going to be a library, it's going to be a groundbreaking library. City of Eagle Bend is working at expanding their location. City of Painesville is looking at a new site. City of Cold Spring just purchased property to add a building. So that city investment, it's really hard to put a dollar figure to. It's not just the dollars that they put into the building, it's the time and energy that it takes to maintain it as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
I would just like to add, as a frequent user of the library, thank you for the services you provide, and thank you for the selection you provide. I can honestly say when I'm looking for a book, whether it's a new release or one that's 30 years old, you seem to have it. So that's very rare for a library. So as a user, I greatly appreciate that.
Thanks. And yeah, I appreciate that too, because it's a reflection of the work of our staff. It's partly a reflection of how Great River works. We're able to operate as one system. And so we have one collection in 32 buildings, not 32 collections, which is a lot more efficient. We're more likely to buy one copy of something and just float it around than focus on what should be on the shelf at any given moment. And that seems to be a better way for our patrons to access what they're looking for. We also are part of the statewide interlibrary loan system. We have a delivery that comes into the St. Cloud Public Library every day and then goes out in addition to our locations to St. John, St. Ben's, St. Cloud State, and St. Cloud Technical College, and then goes back to the University of Minnesota. So we have the capability of getting a book from basically University of Minnesota and Minneapolis to Thief River Falls within probably a week or less across the entire state. And that lending model is really a benefit to everybody because you can access just about anything. Like you said, a lot of stuff goes out of print now. So being able to get the thing that you can't buy anymore is really important.
Okay, thanks, Dan. I run into Dan when I've been at a meeting at the library, so he says he's there almost every week or reads a book a week or something like that, and I'm like, what a great testament. Yeah. So obviously I've served on the board now 7 years, almost a total of 7 years, and I believe that Karen's leadership and the team that she's assembled in leadership is just so strong and such a huge part of our strength. So appreciate all the work that you do.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for the time.
Thanks. Have a good day. Okay, moving on now to agenda item number 5.3. We welcome Ms. Lynn Watashik for these next few items.
Morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. These are the items from the July Planning Commission meeting. First item is Leasing Express LLC. They're requesting to amend their interim use permit, which is a large contractor's yard, to delete a portion of condition 3 to allow phased development. This is in Haven Township on 9 acres in the industrial district. Planning Commission recommended approval of the IUP amendment with the 13 conditions and the findings listed in your packet. And you can see in there where we crossed off what we were removing and where we underlined the different areas that we were adding.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. So what is the wish of the board with this?
I would move we approve this.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Felber.
And just to clarify, that would be a motion to approve with the conditions listed?
Yes.
Okay.
And the findings.
And the
Yes.
findings. So the interim use permit number 68924 with the 13 conditions and findings of fact.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Halls. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
And our next item is Judy Abrahamson. She's requesting preliminary and final residential simple plat approval of Bernie's Farmstead. This is one lot. It's in San Diego Township. It's part of 80 acres in the agricultural district. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 2 conditions listed.
Okay, so this next one, item 5.4, suggested to approve a requested residential preliminary and final simple plat of Bernie's Farmstead, consisting of one lot with the following 2 conditions.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve that with the two conditions as presented.
Motion made by Commissioner Danielowski,
I'll second that.
seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any questions or comments? In Santiago Township, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Item number 5.5.
This is Karen Okeson. She's requesting a preliminary and final simple plat approval of Okeson Acres. This is 2 lots. It's in Baldwin Township on 8.48 acres. It's in the General Rural District and the Shoreland Overlay District of Little Elk Lake and Little Diamond Lake. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 4 conditions.
And this one was brought to us prior to Baldwin taking over
Correct.
this, so that is why it's before us today. So the desired action is to approve a requested residential preliminary and final simple plat of Okeson Acres consisting of 2 lots with the following 4 conditions.
So moved.
Motion's made by Commissioner Hulls. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Next item is John Selinsky. He is requesting preliminary and final simple plat approval of Woodlands Retreat. This is 3 lots. It's in Haven Township on almost 40 acres in the Agricultural Zoning District and the Shoreland Overlay District of the Elk River. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 2 conditions listed.
Item number 5.6, approving a residential preliminary and final simple plat of Woodlands Retreat consisting of 3 lots with the following 2 conditions recommended by the Planning Commission. This is in Haven Township.
So move.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Gray,
I'll second that.
seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Moving on to agenda item number 5.7.
Professional Mechanical, also known as PD Enterprises LLC. They're requesting conditional use permit for office and light industrial. This is in Big Lake Township on 2.11 acres in the Commercial District and within the Shoreland District of Beulah Pond. Planning Commission recommended approval of the CUP with the following 8 conditions and the findings.
Okay, item 5.7, this is to approve conditional use permit for professional mechanical services for light industry HVAC plumbing with the following 8 conditions and findings of fact.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit as presented with the 8 conditions and the findings of fact.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Danielowski. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any questions or comments?
Just one, Madam Chair? This is an expansion of an existing business, to my understanding?
I believe so, yes. Mark, correct? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any others? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Moving on to item 5.8.
And this is, we're asking to update our bylaws for the Planning Commission. I believe it currently has 9 voting members, was what the current bylaws state, but we had not updated them after Baldwin Township went off to do their own zoning, so we're asking to amend it to reflect what is actual reality, which is 8 voting members, and then a quorum would be considered 5. So we're just asking to make that to clarify it, bring it up to date.
I would move to table this until such time as we have a chance to reevaluate the entire planning committee.
Okay, there's been a motion made to table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Danielowski, first by Commissioner Felber. So no discussion with the table. So All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion has carried.
Okay, thank you.
We will bring that back. Okay, moving on now to item number 5.9, receive, review, and accept or act on, I should say, the auditor treasurer report.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. Before you is my monthly report for the county board. Just giving you an indication as to where we're at compared to a year ago at the same time. So we've got the July trial balance, which has been prepared by my accounting manager, Sherburne Kapsner, and also the investment report prepared by Finance Officer Lorraine Rupp. As you can see on there, the investment earnings are above budget by $869,000 at the end of July. So the total earnings so far for this year is $1,511,532.33, compared to $688,709.68 last year. So we're doing quite well with our investments, which is good. We're happy to be on the plus side of things. The cash balance in the general fund is $4,880,419.02 behind that of last year's balance at this same time. We did have additional ARPA dollars and stuff that are in there that hadn't been expended out. And this also includes the Recorder's Compliance Fund balance, which I do a monthly balance for Michelle Ash, our county recorder, and that's $377,567. And then also I noted in here that the ARPA funds of the $9,283,000, a majority of those, as Dan can attest to, and it's on our website, have been already committed to different buckets within the different projects that are out there, but that's just the cash balance of that. Then, moving on to I believe it's page 6 on here, that we have got the functional budget to actual report that's included for your review, and this is on a modified accrual basis. So I just wanted to provide that to you. Does anyone have any questions on that? This does include in here our now settlement period 1 property taxes that are in there.
So any questions on that or any other parts of the report?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Hulse.
Diane, on the expenditures list year to date versus budget,
Yep.
We're pretty far ahead. So we, on a linear basis, we haven't spent in line with budget. Are there big expenditures that you're expecting coming up in certain months?
Correct. There are. Right now, I think we just had, this last week, we had over $2,800,000 that went out for road projects, so it really gets spent.
Yep.
So we've got road projects that are coming up, so it does get drawn down quite a bit.
Okay, and then same thing on the revenues. I'm assuming that's because we haven't received yet the October.
We haven't received, right. We're anticipating we'll have revenues come in for our property taxes. Those parcels that are getting sold and so forth, they are paying those in full, right now. But the other thing is that we did receive our county program aid. That was at the end of July as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. So as I mentioned before, the county program aid was received on July 20th, and we received 1/2 of that for the 2023 year. So that was $2,473,193. And then we'll receive the second half towards the end of December. And we also received the first half of the Aquatic Invasive Species Prevention Aid, which is the county has an agreement with Soil and Water Conservation District that was enacted, I believe, back in 2014, whereas they are managing the boat launches and stuff for the aquatic invasive species. And so then we do that as a pass-through, which I already had provided to the board, the RBA, to request to have that done. And then in December, when that other second half comes in, that will again be turned over then to Soil and Water Conservation District. And then I wanted to provide to you just a little bit of just informational. We received also the federal refuge revenue sharing on June 14th, and we distributed that out in July. And so we received a total of 111,196. And that journal entry is what you can see there is all the amounts that were broken down according to the formula to the different taxing districts and to the ditches and stuff that were owed special assessments on, so they get paid out of that as well. And then the last sheet on there, we've got, it's just a history, basically starting from 1988 up through this year of what we've collected on wildlife refuge for the revenue sharing, and then the amounts that the county retains, the towns and cities, the school district, the hospital district, and the ditches, and what the total distribution is. I just thought that's interesting information just to kind of see how that kind of flows. So it's just information for you. Does anyone have any additional questions? I did send out to you the publication release for the population. So that was sent out earlier. So you all would have received that. So does anyone have any other questions?
Any questions?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Danielowski.
I have one question in regards to the hospital district. Who actually retains those funds, being as the facility is now operated by Centricare?
Well, and they have not levied for a number of years on there. So the hospital district, as you can see, they don't receive any of the revenue
Okay,
sharing. And the only time that they possibly would be getting anything is if we had delinquent taxes from a number of years back, that if they were already part of that taxing year or that levy year, that's the only time they would be receiving any of that distribution if we had collected delinquent taxes on that.
okay, so then there's nothing that's actually going out to them anymore
Nope.
at the moment?
Nope, there is
And
not.
then it stays with us then at the county?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You are welcome.
And is Fairview also included in that?
Pardon?
Fairview Hospital?
No, Fairview is not, because we're not the home county for well, it's in the city of Princeton, but they don't levy to us. They levy probably through the city.
Fairview is located in Sherburne County. It is, yes.
Yeah, it's located in Sherburne County, but they haven't levied to us.
Okay.
And are they a hospital district, or are they just a hospital?
See, that's,
Can't answer that.
Okay.
we have never had for Fairview
Okay.
any
Okay.
tax levy, so,
Just curious. We
Miss
do have
Haney?
a hospital in our county, though.
correct, yes, it is.
Located in our county.
Where's that?
Yeah, exactly. I'll draw you a map.
Yeah, it's on the edge, right?
Yes.
Madam
County
Chair,
Attorney.
when Fairview was built, to my knowledge, there was no hospital district that was created to support that.
Yep.
So,
And there was for Monticello Big Lake.
correct. And that actually pre-existed my coming here.
Okay. Okey doke.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that report. So this is an action item, so we need to take action on, and my recommendation would be is that we accept the Auditor Treasurer's monthly report for July 2023.
So moved.
Motion's
Second
made
that.
by Commissioner Hall, seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any other questions or comments?
Just thank you for your very detailed and accurate reports.
You're welcome.
Please extend the thank you also to your staff. I know
I
there's a
will.
number
I
of
will do
staff
that.
people, Sherlyn and Lorraine, that are.
Yep, we all work on it together, so.
It's a
yes.
team effort, so please extend that thank you. So,
I will do that. Thank you very much.
okay, there is a motion and a second, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Moving on now to Commissioner Correspondence Committee reports, upcoming meetings. Why don't we start down on this end with Gary?
I get to go first. August 1st, I attended the Water Advisory Committee with the Soil and Water Conservation District. Went over all of the different aspects of the watershed programs going on. That evening, did the National Night Out. I attended 3 in Blue Hill and 2 in Santiago Township. Late attendance, but still good. I found that they were all within miles of each other, so you can't expect big crowds when they're that close. Did the AMC training on August 3rd in St. Cloud, which was, I thought, very beneficial for the few of us that were there. I thought was always detailed from AMC. August 5th, I attended the Farm Day at the Alvin Ayers Farm in Haven Township. They've been there, Century Farm. Their family is very involved in trying to educate the public in regards to agriculture. So they put on a field day type thing every year for primarily, I would say, individuals from the city or that are not frequent to farms. So it was well attended for what it was. So I thought that was great. I had a meeting August 8th, constituent zoning violation. I met with staff, a MICA board meeting by Zoom on August 9th. August 14th, I attended the Equity Through Action Committee in Sartell. And last night, I went to the Blue Hill Township Board meeting and the Palmer Township Board meeting.
Great.
I also went to the Soil and Water Conservation District meeting. I went to two Night to Unite events, one in Becker Township, one in Big Lake, one in Orrock Township. The Violent Offender Task Force, the Lakes Area Drug Investigation from Crow Wing County may join that, which will strengthen and make that a even more effective organization. We're looking forward to that. They're going to have a special meeting on that later this week. I also attended County Government 201. I thought that was quite beneficial. We discussed constituent outreach, human resources, data requests, and polarized viewpoints within the board or any other organization you might be part of. That was a some good conversations on that. On 8:05, I went to coffee with Mayor Dietz. One of the most best piece of information I got out of that is that Big Lake Fire Department and Elk River Fire Department are thinking about some sort of a merger. There is also talk about creating even larger fire districts within the county. Once again, I've talked about this before, the crisis that we're having with our first responders is that it's harder to get people to work in the volunteer capacity, and the cost of machinery just goes up and up and up. I mean, the cost of machinery, major machines like ladder trucks has gone up several $100,000 this year again. So it's kind of getting out of control. So hopefully by realigning how we do our fire coverage, you may be able to be more effective with it. They're doing some renovations to the hand key building and the roads in Elk River. Let's see. Went to the Tom Enner Town Hall in Big Lake, which was really a good thing to see a lot of people see what they're concerned about from their federal level. I sat in on the first of our DEIB committee meetings. I sat and observed that. That was a Pride committee, so I wanted to see how those things are going to function and keep an eye on how that develops. And then I had constituent input. People were sales tax. People would be asking about sales tax. Several complaints about the wheelage tax. And then, of course, what I get every month is restrictions on property and building and being able to get IUPs. That's about it.
Okay, I had a light couple weeks. I was able to get away for a few days. A few constituent calls, attended about 4 of the Night to Unite to support our law enforcement and our firefighters on the night. We have large gatherings in Livonia and City of Zimmerman, so that was really great. The First Steps Joint Powers Group met and then gathered to say goodbye to our Executive Director, Lori Schultz, at TRICAP. The executive committee is in a search for our new executive director for TRICAP, so stay tuned with that. Diane.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also had a light meeting time. August 3rd, attended the County Government 201, found it very, very interesting, a lot of great information, as was already somewhat discussed. What I found was good, valuable information in open meeting laws, what you need to do to keep yourself out of any issues, a lot of discussion on what would human resources do as to what you do when you are talking about employees and stuff, and if someone comes to you. So I found it very valuable in regards to that, and board meetings in polarizing times. So good information. If you have a chance to attend it, if you didn't do this one, I'd highly recommend signing up. So hopefully they'll do it again. Please pass on to them. It was a really, really good outreach. And August 10th, attended the APO meeting in St. Cloud. What we did there was we did approve the 2024 budget with the, we took out the bridge component that was in there. They got $1 million grant to be able to explore putting a bridge across the Mississippi River up towards St. Cloud. So that is going to be on hold for about a year while we explore different ways, because it was really going to bump the budget up quite a bit. So we approved the budget without that piece in it at the moment. And we did approve our top 3 priorities that we're going to do for 2024. Improvements to US 10 between St. Cloud and Clear Lake, Benton County, CASA 29 extension, and the improvements for Minnesota 15 and 23 intersections. And that's what we're going to be lobbying for when we go out to Washington to hopefully get funding to help, and also at the state level. That pretty much takes care of that need.
Okay, thanks. Andrew?
Yep, so, same thing, August 1st attended Night to Night, went to several different, of the gatherings. Good discussions with different folks around Elk River, and there was good attendance even though rain came through right as they were all supposed to start. August 8th, attended the Technology Steering Committee meeting. Had a couple of constituent, issues that I worked on these last couple of weeks. One was around working with Andrew Witter on some speed limit issues on a couple of the roads in Elk River. And then I want to thank Dan Weber and Amanda Larson for their support with a constituent issue where the individual was having a hard time making the right connections within HHS. And so they helped take care of that. So that was very much appreciated. The vast majority of my time was spent, I've spent a considerable amount of time over the last couple of weeks doing a deep dive on some budget issues. And then I was also in discussions with the attorney's office and the watershed on the proper entity for the watershed moving forward, for the Mississippi watershed.
Great. Okey doke. With that, we are running a little ahead of ourselves. Do people wish for a break? Okay, so why don't we stretch? It is 9:52 on mine. Why don't we come back at 10 or 10:02? And so we will take a recess for 10 minutes. We'll recess our regular meeting at this point and open our ditch authority meeting. And first thing on that agenda is to approve the ditch authority agenda.
So
I'll
moved.
move to approve our ditch authority agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's made by Commissioner Felber, seconded by Commissioner Danielowski. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. And then we will move into the technician's report. So,
Good morning, everyone.
good morning. Mr. Mike Lindenau.
PowerPoint.
So you were provided with a written report, and now Mike always has some great narrative also, sometimes with pictures. and
Yeah.
Videos.
Yep, I got a little of both.
Okay, great.
Is there any questions regarding the written report?
No.
No
Not a whole lot,
questions?
not a whole lot going on in the last couple months. It's been so dry.
So dry. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll start with ditch 28. At the last meeting, we had just gotten started replacing that 12-inch tile line that was full of tree roots. So we did complete that job towards the end of June. It was quite the task. We ended up having to replace a lot more than we were planning on because we just kept finding more roots, and we were there, just get it done. So we went all the way to the road and connected to the pipe under the road. You can see right there, them are all tree roots right next to the pipe and in the pipe. I mean, that's some of the, it was like every 20 feet, at every joint, there was just globs of mats of tree roots. There's another pile. And upon releasing these root masses, the water started coming.
Do you have to replace that pipe when you do that? I haven't worked on many ditches, so.
I'm sorry?
Do you have to replace that pipe when you go in there? So
Yeah.
all of that gets replaced also?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was necessary because the joints were so bad, and removing the pipe, it gets damaged, and so we put a better pipe in there with a bell and gasket to really seal it up.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's another one. I mean, it was so wrapped around in there, you couldn't even get it out of there. So we had to rent a couple dumpsters to get rid of all the pipe. 960 feet. It took 2 of these dumpsters to get rid of it. The old practice of burying the old pipe in the hole is not the right thing to do, so we disposed of it properly. So this went to Veit's landfill. There's a machine we hauled all the pipe in and out of with the grapple on the skid loader. This is a balloon. Once we removed all the pipe, we installed a T on the pipe that was under the road, and then you put it upstream, and then you blow it up, so it blocks water from coming. So then you're working in the dry. You're not fighting water. So it really helps a lot. I have a short video of how it works. This is the pipe at this road we connected to, real heavy-duty plastic. So they did, when they put that Windsor Oaks in there, that development, at least they did this right. This is after all the cleanup, backfill, dragged and seeded. So it turned out pretty nice. So now everybody in the neighborhood is riding their golf carts and four-wheelers and side-by-sides down it.
Sure. Looks like a trail.
This is ditch number 4 up on County Road 38 near Princeton. This is where we had a couple beaver dams. There was one on the north side and south side of the road. This is one of the dams that was tucked in the back, mostly mud. Apparently it had been there for a while because it had vegetation growing on it. And here's on the north side of the road. What he's got in his hand there is he call a charge. It's fertilizer, fuel oil fertilizer. And there's a blasting cap inside there, and that's what makes it go off. There's 1.5 pounds of handful in there in each charge.
That's all.
This is the series. I think there was 8 charges in this dam. Just another picture before we let her go. So that's it as far as the slide. I got a couple videos, 2 of the blowing the dams and 1 of the 12-inch plug. There comes the water. You release the air pressure, and then the force of the water kind of lets it go, and then you got to pull it up. You don't want to let go of that thing. You'd have some serious problems if it got downstream. So that's how that works. About 50 seconds, I think, on this one. That was a pretty big one. Ooh, the road got it pretty good. We had to stop
The
traffic.
feeling they really enjoy that.
I know.
Who doesn't? I haven't got to blow up anything in a long time, but I miss it. So.
There's another one.
Another one.
So on that last one, well, on both of them, we stopped traffic to make sure nobody happens to take some mud bath, so just for safety purposes.
That's great.
And that's all I have for today.
Okay, great.
Have photos of, or could you send us photos of like the new bell housings you're using and the different type, in the improved drain tiles that we're using?
Sure.
Just out of curiosity. Not
Yeah.
like I'm gonna come out and put them in for you, but I just want to see them.
But you would like to come out on an explosive days, right? And-
Yes, I would. I would like to help. I would
have
like to
this
help with
feeling.
that.
Yeah. Mike gets all the fun work. So-
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that report, Mike. And that is also an action item, so I would be open to a motion to approve the ditch authorities, ditch of drainage technicians report.
So move.
Motion's
that.
made by Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Moving on now to that of item 7.3, approve and authorize billing of proposed 2023 county drainage assessments.
So I don't have anything as exciting as Mike has. So, but I have to pay for all the work. Not, I don't have to pay for it personally. We have to assess for all the work that Mike has done in the past year. So before you is the 2023 ditch expense report and the proposed 2024 assessments that we're going to be billing out. I do an analysis at the end of July each year, and analyze what we have in there for each individual fund ditch balance, what we're expected to get that have been billed out previously, that have been deferred revenues that we're getting in, and what my ending balance is. So based on all of that information and the expenditures that have been done in this past year, I am proposing on the following ditches that are listed there for special assessments to be assessed to those benefited property owners. We do, on the RBA, it gives you a little bit of information. So any of those parcels that are less than $100, that's a 1-year assessment. Anything over $100 to $1,000 is a 3-year assessment. And for $1,000, 1 cent and over, it's a 5-year assessment. So it's broken out that way in the longevity. We do mail out in August, once this has been approved, so then our taxpayers do have, or our benefited property owners have an opportunity to pay this up before October 31st. And that way it won't go on their tax bill for on 2024. And we have a number of those that prefer to do it that way. So we like to get this done as early as we can when we have the computation done in August and get those mailed out so they have enough time. You know, they've got 3 months then to get to decide if they want to pay it up or if they want to let it go and become part of their taxes for 2024. The interest rate this year, though, it's more. We had I'm trying to think, 1.17%, I believe it was last year. Well, with the interest rate that's been going up, it's 5.17%. So I see she's got the decimal points in the wrong place here, and that's what we're getting on our investments. So that's our average that we have to apply for. If that goes on the taxes, it'll be for the next year for that period. So does anyone have any questions?
Questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Hulse.
just 2 questions. I just want to make sure I understand. The year breakdown, so $100 or less, $100 and 1 cent of 1,000 above 1,000. Are those the same amount time frames that we've used historically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, so if they pay everything up front, there's no interest applied.
Correct.
But for example, if it's over $1,000, it'll be assessed over a 5-year period, but that interest rate will be applied to those payments, correct?
Each year, yes, correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
And then we did provide to you, too, all those that were on those ditches, those individual property owners that would be assessed of those that were a listing of $100 or more. Just so you have an idea, you know, of those benefited property owners.
Okay, so this is an action item, and so I'd be open to a motion.
So move.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made to approve and authorize billing of proposed 2023 county drainage assessments by Commissioner Gray and seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Thank you very much.
And thanks, Mike, for your report. At this point, I will close the Ditch Authority meeting. We are ahead of schedule. So are we ready for item number 9.1, or do we want to take these in a different order? And with our workshops.
Recess this meeting.
Okay, thank you. So I will close the Ditch Authority meeting, and take a 5-minute break while we decide what we're going to take next. So stay tuned.